Peace and welcome to Not Church, a niche channel. I'm Pete, your mystical scholar, nerd, contemplative, mystic, yogi, and near death experiencer. Thanks for joining me here live or by recording. It's really great that everybody's bringing their energy and I can feel it. I hope you can feel it here this morning. Thanks for joining me. We feed the heart and the head, and in the end, we give practical benefits and applications for daily living. When I say we, I mean us collectively. I mean, that's what happens at Mystic Tea Salon, too. And if you've joined me here more than once or twice or thrice, please like and subscribe. I'd appreciate it. Thanks. Say hi to Susie, Maggie, and Wanda over there. Hey, so in last Sunday's video, we explored self-love and compared passages from the Gospel of Thomas, the Upanishads, the international version of the Bible, and the Peshitta, the Aramaic Gospels. We concluded with detachment from the belief that your mind is who you are and that you will see, experience, and then you will see, experience, and feel the light of the universe. This happened to me in my death. I practice it in my life so I may increasingly see. I recommend pursuing. I'm getting myself set up here still. I recommend pursuing the pursuer for the serious-minded and heart-guided mystical contemplative. And this is how to love oneself. Once one noetically understands the truth through direct contact, even if it's only a glimpse, one loves that part of oneself because there is only one self, one spirit animating every living being. No separation. And you don't have to take my word for it. Please don't take my word for it. Feel it for yourself. It's not as hard as you might imagine, but it does take mental effort to fan the spark, as Teresa of Avila talks about. Got to fan the spark that speaks in whispers, tingles in the fingers, and warms the heart. And today we're going to pick up where we left off. And here's the title for today: Exploring the Hidden Power of Universal Love, Dissolving Human Hatred. We don't tackle the little stuff here. We tackle the heavy, deep things. We'll compare universal love with a capital U and a capital L. We'll compare universal love using ancient transcultural mystical writings. I'll tell you what happened to the baby yesterday, and I'll give you practical tools to eliminate self and human hatred. Hating yourself, hating others. There's a way to get around that, to dissolve that. Today's talk is in 3 short but deep sections. So I know that some of you take notes. I'm a note taker myself, so get out your pen or your paper or your pencil if you want to take notes. And thanks for joining me here. Thanks for joining me here in the divinely assigned dream. It's my divinely assigned task and dream of comparative ancient mysticism. We seek the light, love, and direct contact. One of my mission goals is to prove that no single religion contains the only truth by showing the similarity of the diverse facets of the divine oneness in these ancient books, and therefore in the hearts of mystics like you and me everywhere around the world. Once we eliminate the religio-cultural contextuality, once we erase the religion, we find the oneness of being. So hang with me for self-understanding, wisdom of the ages, and shared Shaktipat, the power of our collective mystical questers. And thanks for mystical questers, Susan. So let's begin by taking a few breaths as we settle in. All right, here we go. Together we'll meditate, reflect, and uncover the unity of all being inside ourselves and the eternal life within us. Just a few breaths. Let's just feel it together. Settling in. Deep breath into the belly. Relax. Exhale. Two more. Let me know if you feel any energy, any Shakti, any divine collective in the chat or in the comments. So, section 1, 3 sections. Section 1. Here's a translated quote from the Upanishads. When a person sees oneself, capital S, when a person sees oneself in all beings and all beings in the self, then the self does not hate anyone. They who see unity of life and perceive all beings as their own self feel no hatred by that realization. I'll read that again just so that you catch it, okay? Scroll back up here. When a person sees oneself in all beings and all beings in the self, then the self does not hate anyone. They who see the unity of life and perceive all beings as their own self feel no hatred by that realization. There's the key. So let's explore 7 concepts in this verse to come to understand it. And then we'll compare and finish with some practical spiritual growth. And I'll tell you the story about the baby, something that happened yesterday. So, first, the one self, Atman, in all beings. The concept, the experience of Atman in the Upanishads refers to the true self or soul, which is eternal and universal. The omni mind. Thanks, Sashi. I love that. The omni mind. So it is everywhere, all the time, in everyone. Second, the ones. Seeing the one self in all beings means recognizing and interiorly experiencing that every individual being is a manifestation of the same universal consciousness. Third, all beings in the self. The mystical state of union or union's leftovers extends the realization with a capital R that the universal consciousness is present in every being and contained within the universal consciousness. So this is in us and surrounds us, just like Jesus said. In us and surrounds us, just like Jesus said. It emphasizes the interconnectedness and unity of all life. Fourth, no hatred. When one perceives this unity, the notion of separateness dissolves. Hatred, which arises from the illusion of separateness and ego, naturally ceases to exist. You can't hate someone in this state because hate has no substance in unity. I've told you about the people who used to attack me when I was a minister and tried to destroy me, all that stuff, the terrible stuff that happened, the embezzlement and all that thing. Hatred had been removed from me against these people who were trying to destroy me. It's not because of something that I did, okay? I didn't make that happen. It happened to me as a result of this divine grace. hatred naturally ceases to exist inside the oneness self, inside the oneness of being. Fifth, this perception of unity brings about a profound transformation in understanding and experience. It's a complete paradigm shift. When this happens, even if it's in little bites, when it happens, there's an entirely new born again experience. This shift is a radical shift. And it's known, you will know they are Christians by their love. So you'll be known by not hatred. Not just hatred of others, but this paradigm shift primarily involves self. I've talked about how I'm not a big fan of Peter all the time, but I don't hate myself. Instead, as we covered last week, I love the core of my being, this unity self. And by loving this unity self, I find my hatred dissolved. This core of my being. Sixth, it raises a sense of universal love and compassion. This naturally arising love. So you have this experience, this glimpse, and then there's this naturally arising love that is unlike any love you or I have ever felt. Well, I felt it when I died in its totality. And again in that Kundalini awakening. But yeah, unlike any other love. This love contains all love and is unlike any other love. But all loves are a facet of this diamond. This new love, on arrival, magnifies all mortal love. Its impact is you can't help but love everyone, which has its own problems. Trust me about that. But it arrives with this universal love. This morning, or yesterday, somebody commented, and I think you're here today, uh, Candyman, about your new puppy, and you're meditating with your puppy on your lap, and you're feeling this universal love. The love magnifies itself where two or more are gathered, be it a puppy in your lap or someone that you love. This divine being magnifies itself, and it magnifies all mortal love, including puppy dog. Seventh, mystical context and ancient global mysticism. Okay, that's the subject for this number 7, mystical content. The Upanishads, I'm talking about what these are now, in case you don't know. The Upanishads are ancient Hindu scriptures that explore the nature of reality, the self, and the universe. The Isa Upanishad, from which we quoted today, I think it was 6 to 7, the Isa Upanishad emphasizes the non-dualistic nature of existence, where Atman, in this case, where Atman, the individual soul, and Brahman, the universal soul, are one, just like Jesus was talking about. This realization is central to achieving liberation. Moksha, they call it, liberation. And Christian mystics like Meister Eckhart spoke of seeing God in all creation. God everywhere in everything. The idea of Imagio Dei, for you Latin Catholics out there, the idea of Imagio Dei, the image of God. Think of the book of Genesis. Think of the book of Genesis, the image of God. It points out that every living being reflects the divine, just like Upanishads. Seeing this divine image in others leads to universal love and compassion, transcending ego and separateness, and hence the end of hatred. You've heard Eckhart's reflection here before. The eye with which I see God is the same eye which God sees me. Unity. C. Upanishads A, Meister Eckhart B, Sufism C. Sufism is the mystical branch of Islam, and it speaks of annihilating the ego, which they call fana, the annihilating the ego, to achieve union with the divine, which they call Baka, Baqa. Sufi mystics experience in the oneness of all creation the presence of Allah within every being, which produces a profound sense of what? Love and unity. Rumi's wisdom. The lover's cause is separate from all other causes. Love is the astrolabe of God's mysteries. It's the place where we find the divine. D. In Buddhism, anatas, I'm trying to learn words, anatas, non-self. Non-self experience emphasizes the ego's emptiness and the interconnectedness of all life. Realizing anatta leads to compassion and loving kindness for all beings as it dissolves the boundaries between self and others. And this is why oneness is so important, because it dissolves the boundaries interiorly and between others. This is Buddha's insight. In the separateness lies the world's greatest misery. In compassion lies the world's true strength. Compassion is key to overcoming misery and others and oneself. Your thoughtful compassion for yourself will grow and extend to others as naturally as a flower comes up out of the earth and shines its little face towards the sun and brings joy to people walking by. E in Taoism. The Tao, the way, represents the fundamental nature of the universe, underlying all existence. The Tao Te Ching teaches harmony with the Tao, recognizing the interconnectedness and flow of all things. This leads to a state of wu wei, effortless action. It naturally arises. Wu wei is the same concept. It naturally arises and with compassion for all life. That's just what happens. We want to end the turmoil of humanity's in humanity. This is how the teachers have been telling us this for centuries around the world. This is Lao Tzu's teaching. Seeing the small is clarity. Keeping to the gentle is strength. The gentle compassion. Seeing the small. So let's conclude this section before we get to the benefits for you and what happened to the baby, with little actionable items at the end for you to figure out how to help. So the quote from the Isa Upanishad reflects a universal mystical insight shared across various cultures. Realizing the oneness and interconnectedness of all life to the dissolution, linking the interconnectedness of all life to the dissolution of hatred and the cultivation of universal love and compassion. We want to stop the hate in the world. This is how. This profound transformation is at the heart of mystical experience. That glimpse, transcending the ego and recognizing the divine unity in all beings that is naturally there, the original goodness. This exploration this morning, or whenever you're watching it, reveals that despite cultural and historical differences, mystics from different traditions converge on the same fundamental truth: the unity of all existence and the importance of perceiving and embodying this union, this unity in daily life. So what happened with the baby? I think I have enough time here to do this. I'll tell it briefly. I had to do a baptism yesterday. I didn't have to. I agreed. I did this wedding. I liked these people. They asked me to do a baptism. I'm not a Christian minister anymore. I told them so before the baptism. I changed the language a little bit, but and I know these people. I've known them on and off for years. All right, and so but they don't live here. They're summer people. So they came up to the stone chapel that we have here on Ocean Point, and I to explain the situation. I told them I was a near death experiencer. I was kind of coming out of the closet to them. This is why I'm really not a person of faith. So I'm doing this baptism. I'm still legally ordained, but I'm not affiliated with any denomination anymore. And I was going to take the baby, and the baby was like, "Yeah, I don't know you." And so I was like, "Okay, keep the baby there in your arms." And we do this little baptism, and to the divine blessing of the presence of God. And after I give the little ceremony part, I put my hand over the baby's heart and I began to speak. And as I spoke, I put down my hand and how did I this? That's not true. I did that last. I looked at the baby in the eyes and I began to speak to the crowd from my heart. And as I looked in the baby in the eyes, the baby went from inattention to total attention. And the presence of the connection between the baby and me extended to a hush in the room as this Shakti energy of blessing that is the real baptism, this born again energy that if you've glimpsed it, you felt it. This energy was profound for everybody there. Not mine. It's not my energy. It's shared energy. Everybody's got this inside themselves. But the connection between the baby and me was astounding to everyone there. And it lasted minutes as I spoke. And then at the end, the mother of the grandmother of the baby, and I spoke about the loss of her husband. And she had tears coming down her face as I talked to her about this one love. And so, what's in it for you? We'll get to section 3 in a second, but what's in it for you is a connection to the divine that links you to other people. This baby and I had this shared experience because of the light inside the baby. It's not just theoretical. It's actual. And this isn't the first time I've talked about it here. Remember what happened in New Haven? Same thing, different context. Because of the light is inside of the child already. What does the child know? It's not even a year old yet. Well, maybe it is, but it was standing up with fingers and walking. So I'm not exactly sure how old the baby was. But what does a child know? It knows where it's from in the core of its heart and carries it with it. And so, if you're looking for a connection of this unity in a person, a baby's a good place to look. And I'm telling you that because there are ongoing mystical experiences. So I'm going to get to section 3 because we don't have a lot of time here. Section 3, what's your takeaway? Let's really quickly explore the 7 practical applications of today's mystical insights and what's in it for you. So, fostering inner peace and compassion. By embracing the concept of the one self interiorly in your practice, in all beings, you can cultivate a profound sense of inner peace and compassion. If you think it and you practice it, it becomes your reality. If you've had a sparkling experience, fan those flames. They need flaming, they need fanning, but you got to do it. It's willpower. You got to fan those flames. This noetic understanding arising from the direct experience and repeated practice dissolves the barriers of hatred and separateness. This is how it works. Imagine living with reduced anger, hatred, and resentment. Imagine the freedom of that. You'll find your life becoming more harmonious and compassionate. Enhanced self awareness and spiritual growth. Recognizing the interconnectedness of all life leads to a deeper self awareness and spiritual growth. It just does. Engaging in meditation and mindfulness practices, well, that'll help you perceive this unity. The results are personal growth and a greater sense of connection to the whole of what awaits you. Experience a more profound understanding of yourself and the universe. Building stronger relationships. Seeing others as reflections of oneself will enhance empathy and understanding and foster non judgmental attitudes in your relationships, even to yourself. The benefits are healthier, more fulfilling relationships with your families, friends, and communities. Build bridges of love and understanding. Cultivating universal love, embracing universal love as described in the Isa Upanishad and by Jesus, extends your kindness and compassion beyond your immediate circle to enable us all to develop a more inclusive and loving attitude towards all beings, like the squirrel who's on my desk this morning eating. Imagine a world where love knows no bounds, enhancing social harmony and collective well-being. Don't we need this now more than ever? Also, it reduces stress and anxiety. Realizing the transcendent nature of the egoic self through practices of non-attachment, breath by breath, will reduce your stress and anxiety about worldly matters, thus improving mental health, lowering stress levels, and enabling us to approach life's challenges with a calmer and more relaxed mind. It promotes global unity and peace. This is hyper important for our times. Understand and practice the principles of interconnectedness and unity to contribute to global peace, reduce personal conflicts, and promote understanding across cultures and religions, even in our country, across cultures, if you catch my drift. The benefits are a more peaceful and cooperative local and global community. Be a beacon of unity and peace in the world. But remember, be strong. Don't put up with bullies, but be a beacon of unity and peace, because unconditional love isn't unconditional tolerance. Just remember that. You can still love somebody and not tolerate their behavior. And if you must, so if you live this and if you must do this, use words, but mostly just live it. And practical meditation and mindfulness practices, the regular meditation, it can be incorporated into the unity of all. It incorporates us into the unity of all being. That's what it does. In addition to these other things, you'll get mental clarity, emotional stability, and spiritual insights, and you can discover the tranquility that lives inside of you. So, in summary, what's in it for you? Engaging with these globally mystical insights and practices can lead to personal transformation, a shift towards a more peaceful, loving experience. What the heck? The lights, I'm energized this morning, I guess, and the lights have, it's still 14%, but this is, wow, that's what happens. That is what happens to me. I get all this energy and it impacts my lights, and then I got to fumble around here. We're going to run over a little today. Mystic Tea Salon's going to start a minute or two late. Um, A personal transformation. It gives you a personal transformation. It's a shift towards a more peaceful, loving, and compassionate existence. Spiritual enlightenment. Gain deeper spiritual insights with a profound connection to the divine and all life. What's better than that? Emotional well being comes in second, pretty close. Improve your emotional health by reducing negative emotions like hatred and anger for yourself or others that dominate rumination. Among other things, can dominate rumination too. Social harmony. Focus on better relationships and a more harmonious community through empathy and universal love. And mental clarity. Achieve this mental clarity and reduced anxiety through mindfulness and non-attachment. Their benefits are so many. So thanks for joining me on this journey of self-discovery and spiritual education, mystical exploration, energetic prana connection, and spiritual growth. If you feel nourished in your heart or head by this, please consider supporting my work at peterpanagore.love, Patreon, or here by Super Chat. And don't forget to subscribe for more spiritual insights. And you can join us in our global mystical community at the top of the hour, which is like a minute. Join our global mystical community at Zoom. Find the link in the description. Come lurk. Find the link in the description. I'm going ahead of my script here. Let's explore the mystical lives together, mystical lives together as we share wisdom. Our community rules are super simple: humility, compassion, kindness, authenticity, and experience. It's a safe place to talk about our mystical lives. Okay, I did it. It's 11 o'clock on the Eastern Seaboard. Thanks for being here. Thank you, Bill, for the super chat. I don't have a chance to look at this. I hope this was good. I know it was super packed with information. Maybe it was too packed. Let me know if you think it was too much. Let me know if it was just enough. Tell me your thoughts. I'm open to critique. Peace and love to you all. See you at Mystic Tea Salon in like 30 seconds.